Hey, Liam. Long time no see.
Hey, Emma. Great to see you again.
There's something that's been bothering me all morning.
What happened?
Well, I was actually feeling pretty confident when I arrived in Palm Springs this morning. I checked into the hotel without any problems, asked the receptionist a few questions, and I understood almost everything. So I thought, maybe my listening is finally getting better.
Let me guess. A group of Americans started talking to each other right after that.
Ha, how did you know? Only 5 minutes later, I completely changed my mind.
That's way more common than you think, Emma.
How is that common? Everyone kept interrupting each other, laughing, making plans, and somehow they all knew exactly what was going on.
The interesting part is that the problem usually isn't fast English.
That's the part I don't understand. Because from where I was sitting, it definitely sounded super fast. I honestly felt like they were speaking a completely different version of English.
I know it feels that way. But let me ask you something. When you were listening to that group, what were you actually trying to do?
I guess I was trying to understand every single sentence, every word. I didn't want to miss anything.
Exactly. And that's where most learners get stuck. They believe understanding English means understanding every single word they hear. But that's not how real conversations work, especially not during something relaxed like a pool day.
So how should I be listening instead? Because right now, it feels completely impossible to keep up.
Instead of listening for every word, listen for the plan. That's what people around a pool spend most of their time talking about. They're deciding where to eat, who's coming, whether they're getting in the water, or what they're doing later. If you understand the plan, you've already understood the most important part of the conversation.
That's actually so interesting. I never thought about listening that way. I always assumed I had to catch every single sentence before I could understand the conversation.
And that's exactly why today's lesson is going to help you. Because once you stop chasing every word, fast English suddenly starts feeling much slower. And a pool day is the perfect place to practice that. Once you recognize those patterns, you'll be surprised by how much you actually understand.
You know what's funny? When I think about those conversations now, almost everything I heard sounded like someone suggesting an idea. Nobody was talking about politics or business. They were just deciding what to do next.
That's exactly what happens. A pool day has its own kind of English. You'll constantly hear people inviting each other, agreeing, changing plans, or asking simple questions. Expressions like, "I'm down," "I'm in," or "sounds good" appear over and over again.
So when someone says, "I'm down," they're not talking about going down into the pool.
Not at all. That's one of those expressions that confuses almost everyone the first time they hear it. "I'm down" simply means "I'd like to do that," or "I agree."
Oh, so if someone says, "We're ordering tacos later," and another person replies, "I'm down," they're really saying, "Yes, I'd love to join."
Exactly. And you'll hear the exact same idea expressed in different ways. Someone else might simply say, "I'm in." Another person might smile and say, "Sounds good." Different words, same core decision.
I think that's what confused me. I thought every new expression meant I had to learn something completely different, but they're all doing the same exact job.
Spot on, Emma. And once you stop translating every expression individually, you begin listening to the conversation as a whole. That's the moment fast English starts becoming real English.
You know, I think I finally understand why I got so overwhelmed. The whole time I was sitting there, I was trying to translate every single sentence in my head. By the time I understood one person, the conversation had already moved on.
Exactly. And that's what makes fast English feel impossible. It's not necessarily because Americans are speaking too quickly. It's because your brain is doing double the work. Try asking yourself one simple question instead. What decision are they making? Once you know that, the conversation suddenly becomes much easier to follow.
I really like that. It feels so much less stressful. Instead of chasing every sentence, I'm just following the story.
Exactly. And that's what native speakers do naturally. What's really interesting is that English changes depending on where you are. At the pool, people joke more. They interrupt each other, they shorten words, and they spend most of their time making simple plans.
So I'm not just learning random expressions today. I'm learning the English that actually belongs to this situation.
Spot on. That's why I always tell you, don't learn isolated vocabulary, learn conversations.
Okay, let's imagine I'm sitting by the pool again. What are the most common expressions I'm actually going to hear?
You'll probably hear something like this. Someone says, "Who's getting in?" Another person replies, "I'm in." A few minutes later, someone asks, "Anybody want drinks?" And someone else answers, "I'm good."
That's exactly what I heard earlier. I remember sitting there thinking, how does everyone already know what those short expressions mean?
Because they hear them all the time. They're an automatic part of everyday American English. Nobody stops to analyze them, they simply keep the conversation moving, naturally.
Wait, there's one expression I've always found confusing. I'm good. Sometimes it sounds like I'm doing well, but other times it seems to mean something completely different.
Great observation. Around the pool, if someone says, "Do you want another drink?" and you answer, "I'm good," you're not talking about your feelings. You're politely saying, "No thanks."
Ah, so I'm good can actually mean I'm okay. I don't need anything right now.
Exactly. That's why context is everything. The words stay the same, but the meaning changes with the situation.
That explains so much. I used to think Americans had hundreds of secret words I didn't know, and I really thought they were just speaking too fast. But it's really just these simple expressions.
That's one of the biggest discoveries language learners ever make. Look, let's test this in real life. Imagine we're sitting right by the pool, sun blazing, music playing, and we overhear the group next to us saying, "Hey, want to grab a bite later? I'm down, but it's up to you. Anyone else?" "Nah, I'm good."
Whoa, hold on. That sounded like one massive unbroken word. But wait, I actually caught I'm down and I'm good in there.
See? You're already catching the vibe. But did you hear those two new ones hiding in the middle? Grab a bite and up to you.
Grab a bite. Are they literally going around biting things?
No. Nobody at a pool party says, "Would you like to consume lunch now?" They just say, "Want to grab a bite?" It's just casual for "let's eat."
Okay, that makes way more sense. And what about up to you?
That's the ultimate chill response. It just means you decide. I'm easy. No pressure.
Ah, so translated into real human language, one person offered food, the second was down for whatever, and the third was just chilling, not hungry.
Bingo! You didn't obsess over every single letter, but you got the whole scene. That's real English right there.
Definitely. If I walked back to that same group right now, I think I'd understand a lot more than I did 20 minutes ago.
And that's your first big win today. The goal isn't understanding every word. The goal is understanding what the group is trying to do.
I never imagined that changing the way I listened could make such a big difference.
And we really improved your English in just a few minutes, did you see?
I'm speechless. Liam, earlier you promised me to teach me one habit that completely changed the way I understand fast English. What was it?
This is what I call anchor listening. Instead of trying to catch full sentences, I only hunt for two main things: a name or a place and time.
A name or a place and time.
Exactly. If you hear tacos and 7 p.m., your brain already knows 90% of the conversation. Everything in between, all those filler words and fast connections, is just noise. Anchor yourself to the main nouns and let the rest float by.
I don't think I understand the difference yet. Can you give me an example?
Imagine a group next to us by the pool is talking fast, and you hear, Hey, honestly, I'm not really feeling tacos tonight. What if we just head over to Shake Shack around 8 and 10?
Okay. Yeah, that's a ton of fast words glued together.
Exactly. If you're trying to catch every single word, your brain gets stuck on honestly, not really feeling, or head over to. You freeze. But with anchor listening, you just filter out the noise and grab two anchors, Shake Shack and 8.
Oh, so without even understanding the whole sentence, I already know where and when.
Boom! You instantly know the plan. Food at Shake Shack, 8 p.m. Everything else was just casual filler. Once you lock onto those anchors, the fast English suddenly doesn't sound so scary anymore.
It's funny. When I arrived this morning, I thought everyone around the pool spoke incredibly fast. Now I realize something completely different.
Exactly. Today, you didn't learn how to make Americans speak slower. You learned how to listen smarter. Before we finish, let's hear from you. Have you ever understood every word separately but still missed the main point of the conversation? Tell us in the comments.
From now on, I'm definitely going to use one of those expressions. Maybe I'm down, I'm in, or simply sounds good.
And remember one last thing. Don't measure your listening by how many words you understand. Measure it by how much of the conversation you actually get. That's the skill that will help you communicate confidently with native speakers.
Now that I feel more confident understanding real conversations, I think I'm ready for the next challenge. What happens when someone asks me about my dreams or my future?
That's exactly where we're going next. We'll visit the Empire State Building and learn how native speakers naturally talk about their life goals, future plans, and dreams, using simple expressions you'll actually hear in real conversations.
That sounds like the perfect next step. I've always wanted to talk about my goals without translating every sentence in my head.
Then I'll meet you at the top of the Empire State Building. See you in the next lesson.
Bye!